Mr. John Conowitz.
Good morning, everyone. Treasurer's report is as follows. The balance on hand, that's how much we started at the beginning of January, was $12,004.23. We deposited during January, these are miscellaneous receipts, including membership receipts, of $758.02. Then we had a series of checks. They totaled $769.06. If the chair would like, I will read off each check, but I will continue here. There were a couple of adjustments due to bank charges of $19, so our total disbursements came to $788.06. That leaves us with an ending balance as of the end of January, that would be January 31st, 2015, of $11,975.06. Thank you.
Okay, if I can get a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Taliesin, second. Lisa? Any opposed? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to some business. So I do need to get a release of some funds. We have Founders Day that's coming up on March 27th. We have a budget of $5,000 for that, most of which would be money coming in from ticket sales. If I can get a motion to release $5,000. Allie, if I may have a second. John? Any opposed? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. If I can also get a release of $50 for the Glendale Council Founders Day dinner, which Mrs. Sondergaard and myself will be attending next week. Motion to release $50. Taliesin, a second. Terry? Any opposed? Motion carries. Also, I need an approval to release funds out of our budget for $100 for mics for the drama production of Fractures, which we'll be using for other productions in the future. We have second, third graders performing, and they have such small voices that in Hoover you can't hear. So they've used this new mic to record their voices for the performance itself. So if I can get an approval to spend $100. John, a second. Debbie? Did
you say 100 or
400? 100. Any opposed? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We also have nominations coming up for Founders Day Service Awards, and we've extended the deadline to the 18th. So if you have anybody you'd like to nominate, anyone in our community, the school, we also have Outstanding Teacher Award, Outstanding Administrator Award as well. So feel free to send those in to the office, and we'll be reviewing them again. We just had our first meeting. We'll be reviewing them again very soon.
One quick question.
Yes.
Where are more forms for that?
I believe we do have some in the office, and we can print some more out if they're not available. But just you can contact me, or you can even email it to me. If you don't want to have a form, you could write a letter. It doesn't have to be specifically on that form. We did put them out in the Thursday folder, but if you'd like to write a letter and leave it in the office, or you could email me directly with a letter, it's fine. Okay, and we'll go ahead and vote on our nominating committee for incoming positions on PTA for next year. And the names on that ballot will be Laura Flower Kim, Audrey Nashadian, Terry Wong, Lisa Bear, and Taliesin Linder. Any opposed to this nominating committee? All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, and we have a nominating committee. Thank you. Okay, Barnes & Noble, which we did back in December. We haven't had an association meeting since then, but were able to raise almost $600 for that. I also need a release of funds for a legislative conference. We had two members that went to a legislative conference recently, which was Laura Flower Kim and Lerna Mirians. And Lerna will have a report on that shortly. So if I can have a release of those funds to cover the conference of $1,000. Motion. Terry, another second. John, any opposed? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. On Friday, February 27th, we will have an assembly, Jump for Heart with the American Association. And we did something to wrap up the kids about a week or two ago over at Hoover. They're really excited. Just a $5 donation will get them a little duck on a lanyard. And during this assembly, we have the Palpitating Panthers, which is a jump roping group. They'll come and join us, and the whole school will be jumping roping together, including the staff and any parents that would like to come and join us. And that will be down in the 3rd level, I believe from 10:45 to 11:15. So turn in the envelopes on not prior to the date, but on the date of, and they will get their little ducks, and depending on their donation amount. And we have our book fair coming up if you want to support the 5th grade committee from February 23rd to the 27th, and they'll be here all week with Scholastic books. And I believe the theme is, there's an ocean theme. Under the sea. Thank you. Okay. And then Flappers Night is also coming up on the 21st at Flappers here in Burbank, and it's a fundraiser for MKS. Proceeds, 50% of the proceeds from the door goes back to the school. They have a 200 capacity. It's $10 a person, so it's an easy 1,000 if we can fill it. So hopefully, please come. It's a 2 milk minimum is what the afternoon is actually called. It's from 4 to 6. They have amazing, amazing comedians that perform. It's very kid friendly, and they do serve dinner there as well. So I hope you can all make it. Ticket sales are available online or at the door. And you don't need a flyer, and anybody off the street. It doesn't even have to be from our school. As long as we sell tickets that day, it all goes back to Keppel. So flyers will be going out for yearbook sales very soon. Again, they are $30 each. It's not a fundraiser. We do not get any proceeds from this. After the deadline, if we do have any available, they will be $40. Let's see, and I just wanted to congratulate from our Reflections program, Liam Zadorian, who's in 2nd grade here, got 1st place in choreography at the 1st district level, so he will be moving on to state. So it's very exciting. So congratulations, Liam. Let's see, and thank you to everybody who participated as well. Okay, let's see. So we'll go on ahead and we're going to bypass the principal's report, and we're going to talk about Founders Day. So Founders Day, which is coming up on March 27th. If Michelle and Regina would like to come up and say a few words about that.
Good morning, everybody. We won't take up too much of your time, but the Founders Day event is actually one of the most important programs or events for the PTA. It's a celebration of volunteerism, and we would love for everyone to come out and support it. But we're wondering if anyone has any questions about Founders Day. We have a lot of parents who are saying that they don't know exactly what it is, and in order to get that support, we want them to know what it is. But what we wanted to do was to kind of read to you what is actually stated at the bottom of the invites. These were actually out, I believe, last Thursday in the Thursday folders. And I'll just share that little synopsis there at the bottom of the invite. This is a celebration to honor all volunteers, whether you volunteer in a classroom, PTA, MKS by donations, or by your participation in any of the wonderful events at school. This is a celebration for all. Your PTA sponsors this event, and it is not a fundraiser. This is a night for celebrating. Come and enjoy a wonderful meal, music, entertainment, and celebrating. So LA Banquets has been so kind to work with us. They want to get involved with the school community, and so they were very generous. We didn't have to pull teeth or anything to get this prize. I have to say that because it is $45. It's an open bar. That's not usually the case, not for the Brandview ballroom there. So we hope that everyone, is able to come out and support it. It'd be a wonderful evening out. And Michelle, would you like to add or?
Oh, let's see.
Okay.
We had the order forms that came out, last week?
Yeah, as
I think
well,
it was last
with the
week.
invite.
And you have the ability to sponsor a teacher, or you can put your money, pull it together if you want to sponsor one teacher, get together with the parents from that teacher's classroom, or you can buy an individual ticket, or if you want to buy, get a group of people, the tables seat 12, and you all want to sit together, just make sure you have everybody's name on that form, and that form will be at the office. It didn't come home. And then that way we can put you all in one table.
So if there are no questions regarding funding, yes, Ted.
Do people who are winning an award have to buy?
they wouldn't know they're winning an award.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the hard part.
You have to convince people to come. Everybody has to purchase a ticket. The only people that we do invite some dignitaries that we will cover, but other than that, everybody has to pay for a ticket. So we just encourage them to come, call their family members if we have to.
Yes, and so we'll be outside selling tickets this Thursday. And so if anybody wants to purchase their tickets, I also have a little card that was given to us by LA Banquet, so if people want to see the venue and so forth, they can do that as well. Vi? Oh, you mean for the table, the groups?
Oh, nominations?
Oh, the nomination forms. I believe there might be some extras. If not, we'll make sure there's some extra forms if you need them.
And I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a form, you could always just write a letter to the nominating committee or to myself. You could email me a letter, and we'll take that into consideration. It doesn't have to be the form itself. You can nominate as many people as you'd like. Anyone as many. I know, because there's so many people that yeah. So we have multiple people that nominate 4 or 5 people at a time.
And then the position, the description was not very sufficient in some things. Can I just ask questions by email? About
Sure.
what the role is.
This we're talking about the Founders Day Awards nomination.
Oh, okay.
But the nominating committee for for basically for any positions, feel free to email myself or anyone on the board if you have any specific questions, and we can give you that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and now we'll have Lerna Miriam. She's going to discuss the Ed 100 and also the legislative conference. Ed 100 is basically an online education for parents that's free, and it gives you basically it educates you on California system. So, Lerna?
Good morning, everyone. So myself and Laura Kim, who's our legislative chair, just got back last night from Sacramento. We were at the 2015 legislative conference for the PTA on behalf of Keppel, and I cannot tell you how inspired and empowered we both felt there, and both of us felt like, oh my God, we cannot wait to go back and share everything that we have learned there. As you know, the California education system, there's a lot of changes happening. And one of the most important things that we learned about over there and we wanted to share with you was Ed 100. And it's the first time we heard of it. We'd never heard of it before. And basically what it is, it's a resource for parents, teachers, administrators, students. And what it does is it has a 10-lesson plan. So you can go log in. When you go on their side, on the top right-hand corner, there's a login place. You log in, and it has lesson plans. And as you can track your progress as you're going along. So that's why it's important that you sign in. So when you come back, it's tracking your progress. And it talks about the students. It talks about the LCAP. It talks about the teachers. It talks about what's next in the California system. And what else you can do is every time you finish a chapter, there's a discussion prompt that comes up. So if you have questions and concerns that you feel like you want to ask or address, you can start a discussion. And what's so great is it's not just about with the parents at our school, it's at the district level and at the state level. So, with the Common Core, I've been hearing at our school a lot of concerns, and parents want to know, well, what's going on and how is the testing being done, and what's happening with the teacher trainings. All this, you can go ahead, it has a search button. You can just punch in, the LCAP, teacher trainings for Common Core, and it just gives you a bunch of information. And it's just a great tool for everyone just to be informed as parents, especially as parents, because parents are the ones asking the most questions, and it's just amazing the information out there and what it can do for us. And also, what else you can do is every time that you finish a chapter, it gives you earn these tickets that's going to be drawn into a raffle. 9 schools out of California are going to win $1,000 for their PTA. So the more people we get involved, Not only are you educating yourself, you're informed about what's happening at the schools, at the district level, at the state level, but you get to win $1,000 for your PTA. So the more people that we have log in and complete a chapter or two, the more tickets we went into the raffle, and we'll have a great chance of winning $1,000 for our school by the PTA conference, which is in April. So just wanted to share that with you. It's a great tool. Also at the legislative conference, just one thing I wanted to share with parents. One of the top 3 things that the PTA is pushing legislators in California to bring back into our schools, it's the arts program. And I want to say how lucky and blessed Flower and I felt that our kids come to a visual and performing arts magnet school. When we heard about all the students and teachers and just the PTA asking them to bring the arts program into their schools, basic art programs, it was so sad that not all the kids have what we have at our schools. And when they talked about how the arts program helped the kids score higher on the SATs and just do better in life, and especially with the Common Core, they talked about the 4 C's, which was, it helps them with the Common Core system, which is great, with communication, with creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. Helps them have higher report card grades. Just overall, I just wanted to let the parents of our school know how lucky we are that we're already one step ahead of the game, being in an arts magnet school. We just wanted to share it with you because we shared with them, and when we met with the different senators and assemblymen, and we told them that our kids already go to our arts magnet school, and we feel so lucky and blessed. So, and they all told us, you're one step ahead of the game because all of California is asking for what we already have in this school, and I just wanted to share that as a parent. Felt so lucky that our kids come here, and so should all of you. So thank you, and please check into this page. It's very informative. Whatever questions you have, just type up a word in the search place, and it'll give you, it's endless, the information that's out there, and it's so important for parents. I mean, I had no clue about this. It was so nice. It's just 10 chapters, 10 lessons, and your kids can do this. If they have questions, they can go through this, Yes?
Is that flyer, do they have more of those flyers?
No, but I can make copies, and we can put this out in the Thursday folders or hand them out, leave some, and yes. So this is what I got back, yes.
So that's a website?
Yes, www.ed100.org. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lana. I recently went on Ed 100. It's really simple. It's at your pace, very extremely informative. It helps you understand all the competing ideas of education that's changing, and it summarizes all the major concepts. And like you said, it's 10 chapters. And after each lesson, you click the ticket, you claim. That way it enters us in for a $1,000 drawing for our school. So I encourage everyone to do it. It's a great site. I did forget one thing. I did recently appoint an arts education chair for the remainder of the year. And if you're still willing to accept the position, I'd like a motion to accept Steve Kim for our arts education chair. A motion, Terry. Five may have a second. Allie? Sorry, Terry. Sorry. Any opposed? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Wonderful, thank you. Thank you, Steve. So, they have a legislation, arts education chair at the district level, and they've asked every school to have one. And being that we are a visual performing arts school, we should definitely have an arts education chair. And there are plenty of parents that can fill that role, but Steve was, we're very lucky to have him on our board. Thank you so much. So if there's anything else to add to our agenda, any other news, I can go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 8:56, and Mrs. Soniker can give you a brief, or not brief, principal's report, and then we'll move on to our topic. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everybody who's here and online watching us, and who will be watching us on video later. We are very fortunate. I'm not going to spend a long time talking about anything except for just to introduce our speaker. We are very fortunate to have here from our district office our district expert in assessment. There is nobody who knows more about it. I don't know in a 100-mile radius than Miss Bonnie Gould, who has kept us right on track and ahead of the game with the state testing. And so she is here to share her wisdom with us and hopefully help everybody to understand better how the new state testing system works. So without further ado, Bonnie Gould.
Thank you. Good morning. Morning. I closed it. And it went off. Okay. My name is Bonnie Gould. I am the coordinator of assessment and evaluation for the Glendale Unified School District, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the CAASPP testing. The CAASPP testing is our new, you might have known it as STAR test or the CST test that we were giving before. It is now the CAASPP test. The CAASPP test stands for California, CA, assessment, A, of student, S, performance and practice. Okay? So the CAASPP test is our replacement test. It is an online test. Our children field tested last year, so we had a little bit of a taste of it. They do go online and take the test. It's really very exciting to watch them and really respond on the online questions. It is testing the Common Core standards, and I'm not going to go into a big talk about the Common Core, but I know your PTA president mentioned some concerns about the Common Core. The Common Core, a couple of things to keep in mind. Common Core was written with the goal of all the states having the same standards. What we were finding was California had one set of standards, New York had another set of standards, West Virginia had another set of standards, and then Louisiana had one, and everybody else had different ones. And the feds were saying, okay, let's measure everybody and report back on how your children are doing. Well, those states, like California, that had very high standards didn't look very good in that comparison. Whereas a state that had somewhat easier standards, hey, everybody looked great. They were mastering everything. The other thing to keep in mind is that the Common Core standards were very largely built on some of the other state standards, including California's. So there's not a huge shift from what California has had before to what we have in Common Core. But what you do see that is quite different is very much an emphasis on the continuum on school to career. So continuing education, making sure that our children are ready to go into college or into careers. Very much a focus from the beginning all the way through. And so because of that, the other focus in the Common Core is on thinking skills. Okay, so the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress is the CAASPP. And we've got a quick overview for you of what is coming online. First question, of course, is student participation. Who takes this test? The children that will take this test are the children in grades 3 through 8 and in grade 11. So none of the younger ones and not in 9th and 10th grade right now. May change later, but for now, that's what it is. Okay, what content areas are we testing? We will be testing in English language arts, also literacy, and then in mathematics. Right now, the science test is still staying the pencil and paper test that we've given before, and that is only at grade 5. There are two parts in each of the content areas. There is what we call a computer adaptive test, which they abbreviate as a CAT, and then there's the performance task. Now, the computer adaptive portion of the test is really very interesting, and the children have started to experience something like it with the iReady that we've been using in the schools. A computer adaptive test is one that if you answer a question correctly, the next question you get is a little bit harder. If you answer a question wrong, the next question you get is a little bit easier. So what each child will see will vary based on the responses that they give. One of the things we've learned from the iReady testing is that if the children do not stay engaged in the testing and they start like, here's the answer, they go lower and lower. And it doesn't give us a very good read on what the children are able to do. So we found that the testing with the iReady on the computer adaptive and finding out how the children are responding to that has been very helpful in preparing them for this test. What is a CAT? I did this a little bit. And oh, by the way, the handout that you have has all of these key points all written down, as well as the links are written down in your handout, so you don't need to have to talk about it too much. But as I mentioned, the computer adaptive on the online adapts to the child's responses going up or down depending on the correctness of the response. The performance task is something that we haven't had as part of our testing before. Performance tasks give them an ability to demonstrate a broader knowledge. It's writing. It's a much bigger question. The idea is that they will take the skills and apply them in this performance task. The ones we've seen so far are pretty little. They're not like huge things. They're kind of small questions, but they still have to think about, process, and apply basic skills. As opposed to some of the tests we've seen before are mostly kind of just answer the question. These are a little bit deeper. How does this whole thing work? The students are using the Smarter Balanced browser, which is a secure browser in the schools. They'll be using them here with their Chromebooks and in the computer lab. The teacher is monitoring their use and signs them in on the test, and then from there the tests go through the internet to the state-hosted servers, and then it goes on to report within the system. Practice test and training test. This is always something that a lot of folks are interested in. Hey, can I practice for this test? Now, I urge caution with this. We don't want to, oh, let's just practice, 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 practice. That's not the point at all. But at the same time, do you want your children to be a little bit familiar with things? Absolutely. So a practice and a training test is to gain familiarity. It's not to like beat it to death. We just want to kind of get familiar there. So to access the practice and the training tests, there is a website. The link is on your handout right there. It's a nice, easy one. And when you go to that website, that little page that you see at the bottom there, it says for students. They'll click on that and they'll be able to select either the practice test or the training test. Now you ask, what's the difference between the two? Good question. Okay, first thing, what they do and don't do. Practice test and training tests, first of all, will not assess all the standards. It's just a little sampling. Secondly, they are not a predictor of how the children will do. Again, just a little sampling. And finally, they don't give you scores back. It is literally just a practice. When the children take it, it doesn't say, yeah, you got 90% or anything like that. Okay, the practice tests. The practice tests are available for every grade from 3 through 8 and 11 in both English language arts and in mathematics. So if your child is a 5th grader, they'll be able to log in on that site and select a 5th grade math or a 5th grade English language arts practice test. Each practice test contains about 30 questions, 30 items. Performance tests are available within the practice test for both the English language arts and the mathematics. So again, you can see a little bit of what they're going to be able to expect. And additionally, the scoring rubrics and answers. So how are we going to score this thing? You'll be able to see on that website as well. Additionally, on the online testing, and this is one of the beauties of the online testing, we can give the children the adaptations, what they call universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations. So if your child needs, for instance, larger print, or they need an audio, or they need it in a different color, or they need an English to another language dictionary, all of those are programmed within the software and are available to them. We do an upload so that, for instance, all of our English second language learner children will have access to the second language dictionary that is available in their regular language. And that's something they'll be able to click on. One of the challenges that we found last year with the field test is while the dictionary was available, many of our children didn't make use of it because they didn't know about it. So going in on the practice test and saying, oh, click that button there, is a really good thing to get them familiar with. The training test, however, is a little bit different. Training tests are only available for grade bands. So there's one for 3 through 5, there's one for 6 through 8, and there's one for high school. Training test only contains about 14 to 15 questions. 6 ELA and 8 to 9 math. So this one is combined together, not as dense as the practice test, and both the language arts and the mathematics are together in one test, whereas the practice test, you'll find one for mathematics, one for English language arts. There are no performance tasks in the training test. However, again, the universal tools are available on that one. So again, nice practice there. Test administration. Okay. Scheduling time. How long is this going to take? Bottom line for the testing will take about 7 to 8 hours for the children. Now that sounds really overwhelming. You're like, oh my goodness, what are we doing to our children? It's about the same time that our previous tests were taking. And of course, they're not going to happen in 1 day or 2 days. We have about a 10-week window, and the school will be scheduling the children so that it's all broken out and fits for the needs of the children. In English language arts, the computer adaptive portion of the test will take a total of about an hour and a half. That can be done in one sitting. It can be done in different sittings. And again, your school will be adapting that for the children. What happens is when the children log off, it stops them and it picks up at the next question. So in a given period of, let's say, 30 to 40 minutes, one child might finish 10 questions, another child might finish 20 questions. So it is space for the children, and the school will be allowing more time for the children as they go through it so they can all finish. The performance task for the English language arts is expected to be about 2 hours. Again, not necessarily in one sitting. It'll be broken up, but a little bit longer. Before the performance task, we do a classroom activity. In the classroom activity, the teacher is given a script and content to go over, so all of the children are starting with the same kind of conceptual understanding of what they're asked to write about. In mathematics, the computer adaptive portion is between an hour and a half to 2 hours for grades 3 through 6. The performance task is shorter. It's only about 1 hour. And again, it has a classroom activity that's about 30 minutes. So all of those pieces go together. Most of the time we do the computer adaptive portion, the kind of multiple choice, but it's a variety of different multiple choice and other types of questions online. Usually do those first in the mathematics and the language arts. Classroom activity has to come before the performance task, and then finally the performance task will come at that point. But again, could mix it up, could do all of the English portions first and then the math portions, different ways. And different schools will handle that in different ways, and your school will be talking to you about that particular schedule. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of the CAASPP testing to come. Our window opens officially in Glendale as of the 24th of March. Officially, as far as the state is concerned, we have until the end of the school year. We don't want to go till the end of the school year. Our target is we're going to try to be finished by mid-May. And again, your school schedule will vary within that window based on the activities and everything that's going on at your school site. Questions? Good question. Okay, the practice test, go back through here. Okay, the practice tests are ones that are available online on the CAASPP site. They're the ones that are for each grade level in both language arts and in mathematics. The training test is the grade level span one. That's this one right here with fewer questions. The iReady is actually a separate piece of software that we have purchased from a company called Curriculum Associates. And we started using that not only because it provides our children with lessons to be able to practice and fill in on Common Core standards, but it also gives a different type of test that is also computer adaptive, but it is not a state test. Both of these, the practice test and the training test, are coming from ETS, which is the company contracted by our state to administer the core testing. Okay? Yes?
About the testing time?
Yes.
So if the student needs more time, they can have as much time they need to
Yes.
finish the test?
Yes.
There's no limitation on
No.
the time?
No, there is not a limitation. The times that you saw on the chart are suggested times for us to estimate and build a schedule. But as we did in the field test for children that needed more time, the teacher gets a report of who finished, and then basically they usually work out a schedule of pulling children back or having another time for them to come in and finish the questions they were not able to finish before. So yes, the time is not, it is not a time test. It is not, oh, hurry, you know, got to finish in this period of time. So they will have the amount of time that they need. You had another one.
Since our kids every single week they're supposed to know about this to math and language art already, do you think to be better prepared for Common Core test, which they're going to have, better to do that practice test, or just keep going with already?
I think both of them are going to give them some really good experiences. We encourage at least an exposure to the practice test and the training test, basically because, again, it's not going to be, oh, I've mastered the test. It's which buttons to use, what's the format look like that's going to be on the state test. So the practice and training tests here, I encourage you to explore for the opportunity of looking at what it's going to look like on the state test format. As far as content, we've got much more content in the iReady available, and that, of course, is constantly changing with the lessons and everything else for the children. This is just a sampling, so you can see a little bit of what is coming with the state and what it looks like in that state format. So the answer is really both. And again, be cautious, don't overwhelm the children, you know. Children need to be children. So it's just, it's different tastes. But we also have found, we've also found that one of the things that's really important, especially for instance for our third graders, while they're very adaptive to the technology, they took to the technology much faster than we adults did. But we want to get them familiar with it so that when they see the page, when they start to take the test, they're like, oh, yeah, I've been there before. Whereas if you go in the first time, it's like opening up a new piece of software. Oh, this looks scary. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, no way. You know, so we're just trying to get a comfort level for everyone going. Taliesin, did you have a?
Oh,
no. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Sure. That's okay. I'm sure there are questions everybody else has too.
Here on this paper, and also you said that if they answer wrong, the next answer is going to be slightly easier because they answer wrong, or it's going to.
Correct.
My experience, my son usually he does every single week he has 4 already, and most of the time he has so much confidence, easy, quick, in 20 minutes done, he's really on the side. But it happened like 2-3 times he got really frustrated, and he explained me that he got in a higher level because his language of is 8th grade level.
Yes.
So last week we experienced that he goes 2-3 times, he couldn't pass it, and then after that it gives the easiest one, right?
Yeah.
But, and he was telling me, this is not what I want, this is
Yes.
too easy. And he doesn't drop a little bit.
Yeah.
It just completely, he said, this is 3rd grade level. I don't want to do this. I said, well, you have to do that. That's why it's happening. But why it's dropped so much? Not
Okay.
a little bit.
let me answer it in twofold because I want to make sure we're perfectly clear. First of all, on the state testing, while it will go easier, it will stay within the band. In other words, it will not lower him down to like kindergarten. iReady actually can. And that's one of the things that we've experienced with it, is that it goes very quickly to different areas that maybe are too low. Now, going back to iReady, so within the state, to be perfectly clear, we're going to stay within a fairly tight band, and that's what, even though the questions will get easier, it's not going to go way down to kinder on the state test. Now in iReady, what you're experiencing and what you're describing is with the lessons. If a child fails a lesson one time, they are given the same lesson again to repeat. If they fail that lesson again, they are given a very similar lesson. If they failed that one, they're given that one again, and if they failed that one, it shuts off the domain. So in other words, if this was in vocabulary and they failed the 4 lessons in a row, the iReady automatically shuts off the vocabulary domain, because what's the point in continuing to give them lessons that they're not being successful with? And it sends a warning to the teacher saying, this child is having trouble with vocabulary, please intervene. Now the next lesson that he may have seen from the description that you're giving me would have been, first of all, definitely in a different domain. So perhaps it was high frequency words, and he may have tested lower in high frequency words, which means it was a lot easier. Now, if you find that they're getting lessons that are very much too easy for them, please contact your child's teacher, and they can adjust the level of the lessons. And we found we needed to do that sometimes. But often, I always love it with children, you know, oh, this is so easy. Oh, this is so easy. This is too hard. You know, there's no middle. It's really, really easy, or it's too hard. So be cautious on the really, really easy and ramping it up to the point that we're too hard. We, of course, want to find that middle ground, but there isn't a lot of middle ground with our children sometimes. So, but good observations. Yes?
About the test results. So
Yes.
we just received the iReady test result, and it was very diagnostic and
Yes.
give us details of what area is weak or strong.
Mhm.
So this
With the state test?
State test, we get those kind of diagnostic results?
The state test results, and this is the tricky part, and I was, you know, kind of pulling this together yesterday and going, okay, can I get a sample of the test results? Because that's something we're going to have some parent meetings on. I actually just talked to my boss and said, you know, she says, let's schedule them. I said, I'm not scheduling them until they release them, because they haven't. I've seen one copy so far, and the copy of the results that we're getting are actually much broader. They're going to say, okay, in this domain, this is kind of what you're doing. It doesn't look like it's going to get down to the detail that you're seeing in the iReady ones. We will have more information coming on that as soon as they release it. And if you go on that CAASPP website that I gave to you on, you're going to see the same thing that I'm seeing right now. It says, coming soon, report copies. Yeah. So as soon as we get those out, we will be sending out more information to the parents of what you can expect and how to read the reports. The reports are expected to be released between 4 to 6 weeks after all the children finish testing, which means we're anticipating, and I say this cautiously because it's the first time the state has done this, so things could go wrong. But we're anticipating that we will get the results. We'll finish testing probably about, hopefully, mid-May, which means theoretically, by the end of June, we should be able to get the reports back in the district, and then we'll be sending them out to the parents. But don't start calling me July 1st. No, please don't, because you know, as soon as we get them, and we'll let you guys know. But I'm a little bit cautious about the timeline, because a lot of things can go wrong. But we will get you out the results. And as soon as we have the format for the reports, we will be having meetings district-wide to inform you of what those will look like. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
So we will get results of the first 2 years, they weren't going to let us see.
No, the last year we did field testing, and they used our data as part of the norming for the cut points. for the results. We are anticipating that this year we will get test results. And again, could change. It has changed before, but that's what they're telling me at this point. Okay? Also, you know, the cut points look different, and I know we have sent out a very consistent message. One of the most common things that we're describing on it, old test was apples, this test is oranges. It's different, you know, same content, similar, but the way we're asking the questions, the rigor of the questions, very much different. Cut points are different, and you can't compare the same thing. In this one, they're using, instead of our, you know, the green, light green, yellow, orange, red that we used to see on the other reports, now they're doing blue, green, yellow, and red, I think it is. And they're saying that the blue, the top part, which a lot of our children are used to being in, is like the stratosphere. Almost nobody's going to end up in there. So we'll take a look, we'll see what we've got, and go from there. Any other questions? Tallison.
So I understand what you're saying, that whether or not they release the test scores or when might change. But are they anticipating that they're going to use the scores in evaluating the schools this year in terms of creating a new ranking system?
I have read one report that has suggested it. However, I do not believe it is locked in stone at this point, so I would not commit to that at this point, and as soon as we've got more details on that, we will be releasing it. The challenge is that while they've placed the cut points on the student data from last year's field test on a large portion on California, because of course California went all over the place with the test data, you know, how those cut points hold, what does that interpret in a new number? They're talking, I know, at the state level as opposed to an API number, doing it on multiple measure points. So you would have like a blue school, a green school, a yellow school, a red school, based on multiple points of measures, not just on an API number. And that is definitely in the chain of things that are changing, but it is not set yet. Okay?
Okay, I have another question.
Sure.
This one sounds silly, but
No.
is it possible if they answer correctly, but I already gave the wrong answer? Is it possible something like that?
Okay, repeat that question.
You answer the question, in your head you think 100% you're answering correctly.
Yeah.
But I already get the result that you're answering wrong.
Okay, we are talking iReady, not the state.
I thought I read it.
iReady, is it possible? Absolutely. Is it possible anywhere for a software to make a mistake? Of course it is. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say this is an infallible piece of software.
This is what my son was,
Yeah.
you know.
If you run into something like that, and we've run into different things, one of the reasons why we purchased this particular software, other than the fact that it was specifically written by a very reputable program based on research and aligned to the Common Core, which we're trying to get the kids used to, is that we are one of their research partners in helping them to improve the software. So if you run into a situation like that, please do send it to either your teacher, or you're welcome to send it to me.
Because he was telling that, he said, Mom, I'm 100% sure I'm answering right, but I already is telling wrong.
Yeah.
That's what made him get frustrated.
Yes.
And while he was trying the second time, he was constantly complaining and talking, not paying attention. I said, listen, if you be upset and talk, but not listening, then
Yes.
computer is talking, so you're doing the mistake again.
Yeah.
But because he's answering me wrong, I said, then why don't you shut it down tonight tomorrow? Because I know I'm doing that, and I really.
Well, and again, sometimes children are convinced that they've got something right that in reality they've missed like one command or something like the not word, which one is not part of this list or something. So I understand his frustration, but perhaps he could share it with his teacher or another adult and walk through that question. And if indeed it is wrong, we definitely want to know about it. Okay? Okay. Thank you for your time and attention. Okay, Lisa.
Bonnie, and thank you all for being here. And I guess we are wrapping up our meeting. So you got the rest of the day. Hopefully you all have a wonderful day. I know we will here at Keppel. So.
Thank you.